Okay, so this is going to be a video on how to handle every objection that you've ever got in your entire life running your business. Okay, so objection handling 101. Let's dive into it. First thing we need to know is why do we get them? Okay, the reason we need to figure this out is we need to learn from this. We need to solve for it, right? There's a famous saying, you can fail once, but you can't fail twice at the same thing. Okay, because you can fail once, that's fine. Learn from it. Make sure that mistake never happens again. Okay, same thing in sales. Once we get one objection, we need to sit back at our desk and go, why do we get this objection? Solve for it so it never happens again. But what if we can eliminate them from the get-go? Okay, and this is called pre-objection handling, and here's how it works. The easiest way to fix something is to never let it get broken, right? It's easier to prevent something from happening than it is to fix it. Take a glass, for example. Okay, it is a lot easier to prevent it from breaking by carrying it carefully and placing it in the cabinet where it can't be broken than it is to try and tape it back together once you've dropped it and it's splattered all over the floor. Okay, it's the same thing with objections in your prospects. Okay, your prospect is the glass. Okay, and if you just carefully walk it over to the cabinet and carefully place it down, everything's going to be smooth. But if you run over to the cabinet and you drop it and it breaks on the floor, you're going to have a lot of fucking trouble trying to put it back together, scraping all little pieces. You know, it's going to suck. So this is the same with muscle tears, right? If you ever tear a muscle, it'd be a lot easier to make sure you warm it up properly beforehand, wear the proper equipment, make sure you stretch, all that good stuff, make sure you do good recovery, than it is to now sit down for 2 weeks and do nothing because you tore your quad. Okay, so we want to take preventative measures. So what this looks like is we need to abolish any concerns right away, right from the get-go. So 2 examples, we have DMs and sales calls. Let's go to sales calls first, right? There's one thing we gotta know is all objections will fall into these 3 categories: vehicle belief, internal belief, and external belief. So vehicle belief is simply they don't believe in the vehicle. If you run ads, if you run Facebook ads, the vehicle is Facebook ads. Okay. If you do short form content, the vehicle is posting reels, posting shorts. Okay, that's the vehicle. Okay. Internal, it's something internally they believe. Okay, something about them. Okay, so maybe they believe they don't have time. Okay, or they believe that they aren't capable of recording videos, or they believe that I don't know, some sort of internal belief. Okay, and external is something that they believe externally. So they believe that their team can't manage the load. Okay, or they believe that they don't need that much more business, whatever the case is, right? All objections will fall into one of those 3. Now, let's look at actually like some of the objections and what they actually mean, right? So keep in mind, an objection is basically just like a lie, right? 90% of the time when someone has an objection, it's just an uncertainty or some kind of lie for something else. So we're going to figure out what the underlying problem is, right? So a couple of things we can classify this into is trust. If they don't trust you, if they don't see the value, if they're not the decision maker. We already talked about vehicle and external beliefs. If they don't have the time, or if they, or if the price. And one of the ways that we can handle any objection, right, is with a story. Okay, like imagine if someone says to you, "Yeah, I don't think I have the time." Oh, Mark, that reminds me of John. We work with John, and John said to me, I'm totally busy. I don't even have an hour to myself. Like I don't think this is gonna work. But what ended up happening is when we started working with John and we found a way around it, he ended up saving more than 5+ hours a week that he actually got back on time he got to spend with his family. Boom, you just told a story that showed them that, hey, there's someone else like you and we solved the problem too. Boom, you're going to be good to go. So tell stories to solve the objections. But like I said, we want to handle these beforehand, and I'm going to share with you in this document how we can do that, right? So what we want to do is we want to take care of the objections before they come up, right? We already talked about this, and the way we can do this is to just think about all the common objections. You can write them on a piece of paper that you get, and then find a way to ask a question that prevents them from saying that objection in the future, right? So instead of waiting for them to say, "I'm not sure," you could just say to them at the end, near the end, if this package was perfect for you, would you do it? Okay, and then if they say yes, you would just say, well, what's the difference between the perfect package and this one? And then as soon as they tell you what the answer is, your whole goal now is just to solve for that variable. Okay, if they say, well, it's just missing this, or I just wish it had this, then you just find out a way to just get that. Okay, right? Let's go, for example, for another one. Instead of waiting for them to say, I need some time to think about it, you could just say, hey, typically people say that they want a bit of time to think about this. However, I know that, it doesn't take time to make a decision, it takes information. So I want to make sure you have all the information from me so you can make an accurate decision. Is there anything else you need from me? Okay, that could be something else. Before waiting for them to say, I have someone else, you could just say to them, hey, or fuck, wait, where was the other one? My bad. I'm looking around, okay? I'm looking around, right? Instead of waiting for them to say, I'm looking around, you just say to them, hey, I hope that you're searching around for other people like me to make sure you can get the best deal. Are you currently looking around? Do you need some help finding all your other options to make sure you're getting the best deal? Okay? And this builds up a lot of trust as well, okay? If you guys want, I can link this doc so you guys can all have access to this, or you can just screenshot it, right? These are all the objections and then how to handle them as well, okay? So if the price is too high, okay, right? You always want to be empathetic, right? Yeah, I totally understand. So is it the price or is it the value? And then they're going to say, oh, it's the price. It's the value. And they say, okay, great. So, and then you just go back to the problem, right? You just want to solve their problem, right? Just reiterate their problem. If you really reiterate their problem enough times, right? Like imagine if someone came to you and you're a doctor and someone was dying with cancer, okay? They're dying, okay? And you mentioned to them so many times that they're going to die unless they take this medication. Do you think at the end of you guys talking, they're going to take the medication? Probably. We got to do the same thing, okay? Make sure they understand their problem. Now, let's go back here to the DMs, okay? The 3 most common objections you're going to get in the DMs that are going to turn you down is they don't trust you, they don't trust the vehicle, or they don't really understand what's going on, okay? So if they don't trust you, the easiest way to pre-handle this, send video messages, okay? I can't stress this enough. Send video messages that will abolish any trust objections right from the get-go. Number 2, they don't believe in the vehicle. You know how we can pre-handle this? Don't mention the vehicle. Instead of sitting here saying, I do Facebook ads, don't say that. Say, I have a done for your system that generates you new leads using AI nurturing and new innovative technologies to make sure that you never miss a lead. Okay? I just pulled that shit out of my ass, but it sounds fucking cool. Okay? So, that's how you can take care of that. Last one's understanding. Be clear when you pitch. Be clear and concise so they actually understand what you do. So they don't have to ask questions, say, well, can you tell me more info? You want to make sure they understand it all. Now, okay, one of the best tips you guys are ever going to hear right here is this. Okay, there's 3 things you can sell into. You can sell into fears, you can sell into status, or you can sell to the benefits. And I'm going to give you an example as if I was a personal trainer. So if I was a personal trainer and I was trying to sell somebody, to sell them into their fear, I would say, so imagine if this summer you didn't take your diet and your training seriously, and you show up to the beach and everyone looked at you like, oh, look at that fat guy. That would suck, right? Like everyone would look at you all ashamed. You wouldn't want to go out with no shirt. You wouldn't even want to go to the beach in the first place. Okay, that's how you'd sell into the fear. Okay, now this is how you sell into the status. Okay, imagine the summer you go down to the beach, you have a ripped, shredded 6-pack. All the girls are looking at you. Everyone's coming up to you. Everyone's trying to talk to you. Everyone's kind of scared and intimidated of you because you're so in shape. Imagine how cool you'd be. That's selling into the status. And number 3, selling to the benefit. When you get in shape, your life's going to be so much easier because your heart rate's going to be lower. You can do activities more easily. It's not going to be such a burden to go for a walk. Okay, that's the benefit. So, three examples, all the same thing, but there's 3 different ways you can sell them. And this is the same with anything. Okay, you can sell into people's fears, their status, or benefits. So what you have to do, you have to figure out: is your prospect somebody that wants status? Is it somebody that's scared of something happening? That's why they're doing this, or is somebody that wants the benefits? Okay, remember this when you sell. You're selling into one of those 3 categories. Now, last thing, right, like I said, if it's too late, like if you can't pre-handle the objection, right, the glass is already broken, you dropped on the floor, you got to fix it. All you got to do at this point is it's up to you to just try and handle the objections as best as you can, right? And that's why I gave you guys that Google Doc to show you all the objections, the common objections, and how to handle them. But like I said, guys, get a piece of pen, get a paper, or write down all the objections you've ever got, and then write down what they actually were, right? Like if someone says, it costs too much money, it's not because they're broke. Because I guarantee you, if you said to them, hey, you can buy a Lamborghini for the same price, they would find a way to do it because the value is there, okay? So what we have to do is figure out what the actual objection is, okay? Like, an objection is just a lie. So we gotta dig, okay? We gotta be fucking scientists. We gotta figure this shit out. So get a piece of paper and a pen, write down all the objections you've got, write an arrow and write down what the objection actually was. And then once you figure out what it actually was, incorporate. Now, then what you do is you create questions. Okay, let's do this together right now. Okay, all of you, everybody right now watching this. Let's let me do this. Okay, let's go here. So let's write down the objection. The objection is going to be it costs too much. Okay, so what you can do, and let me just quickly do this. Okay, it costs too much. So that is their objection. Okay, what does it actually mean? It means that they don't see the value. Do this with me. Do it for whatever objection you get. Do it for all of them. Okay, how can we ask a question beforehand so that they don't ever say it costs too much? And let's go back to this sheet. Okay, the price is too high. Okay, so basically, let's see. I don't see the value. Let's see. Let's look. We're gonna read. We're gonna look. Right? Something about value. I think that a good question so that to handle it costs too much is hammering the problem. And what this would look like in a question, right, is like, what would your life look like if you did not solve X? Or how would you feel if X was still here in 6 months? Right? These are questions I would ask to prevent it cost too much. Because if you can get someone sold so much on their problem, right, solving their problem, they'll buy. Like the example with cancer, okay? If you're a doctor and someone comes to you with cancer, okay, and you reiterate to them that they're gonna die today if they don't take the medication, I can guarantee you that at the end of the call, whatever, that they're gonna take the medication to not die. It's because they understand how big the problem is, how bad it is. Okay? So if we can make people understand how bad their problem is, we can sell easily. Okay, so I hope that this helped. I hope you guys did this too, okay? You know, write down your objection here, write down the real objection, write down how we can solve it, and then write down questions to ask. Okay? 4-step process to preemptively solve all your objections. You can do this for every objection you ever get. And then what you do is you just make sure that you ask these questions beforehand, and you're going to have very little objections. Okay, it's really this easy. Okay, like sales shouldn't be difficult. You shouldn't be hopping on a call answering 20 questions at the end because they're so unsure. You should have done a good enough job telling your story, selling yourself, and selling them on either their fears of status or the benefits. So at the end of the call, they don't have any questions other than when can we get started. Okay, I hope that this video on Objection Handling 101 helped you out so that you can now handle any objection that ever gets sent your way and close like there's no tomorrow. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. I will answer every single person to the best of my abilities. Peace out.